All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. And thank you so much for joining us today, whether you are attending in person here in beautiful Watson Library or whether you are watching via our remote live stream today. If you have a friend who was not able to attend today and they're really sorry about missing it, please know that a copy of the live stream will be made available for later viewing, so they won't completely miss out. I would like to especially welcome today our KU Libraries Board of Advocates members who are here with us today. I understand that we might have as many as 12 of them with us. For those of you who do not know, the KU Board of Advocates is a really important volunteer advisory group who help to steer and advance the mission of the libraries, and we are so grateful for their commitment. I would like to ask if our Board of Advocates members present today could just stand for a moment and be recognized. Thank you. Hi, Janet. We are especially grateful for their service this year, which is the centennial year of Watson Library, and for all of the work that they are putting in to ensure that we celebrate the 100th birthday of this iconic, beautiful library in high style this September. So put September on your calendar and stay tuned for more information about all the celebrations to come. So today, State of the Libraries is our annual opportunity to provide the KU community with an update on the work and the developments and the accomplishments of KU Libraries. And it is important that we communicate with all of you on a regular basis because the libraries is an academic unit that is partner to the entire academic research and community enterprise. As Provost Bickelmeyer has stated, I'm going to quote her, "The libraries are the closest thing to a campus academic infrastructure for everyone." That is a powerful statement and a truthful statement. We are partners that advance the entire academic enterprise. And in that sense, the libraries belong to all. In that very real sense, it is your library. And that's a message that I like to deliver on a regular basis. So we welcome this as a regular annual opportunity to share out with you about your library and also to hear back from you. So we look forward to your questions and comments during the Q&A period. It's also really important to do this on a regular basis because everyone here at KU, we spend so much time and energy pressing forward to advance the mission of KU. But it is important every once in a while, let's do it once a year, to take time, to find the time, to take the time, to step back, to take stock, and to recognize all that we have done. So KU Libraries is comprised of approximately, the number is always changing, approximately 128 people. It is a large, diverse organization. I can wake it up every once in a while. It's a large, diverse organization with many specializations. We only have time in our hour today with you to provide very broad strokes overview of everything that they have been doing over the past year. And I would love to acknowledge every member of the team who has been instrumental in those accomplishments, but we're not even going to attempt that with 128 people. Just please know that I acknowledge and we acknowledge all of the hard work and the dedication and the fine work. And when we talk about those accomplishments, give yourself a pat on the back because you know that it was you that helped make those things happen, even if you are not named. So where's my clicker? Where'd the clicker go? I'm going to use the arrow. You ready? It worked. So this is what we're going to be covering today. We're both going to be looking back at 2023, and we're going to be looking ahead to the future. The entire KU Libraries leadership team is going to be presenting today, and we are largely going to proceed by the major portfolios or departments, as we sometimes call them, within KU Libraries. I do want to note that many accomplishments are actually library-wide across all of those portfolios or intersect across many of them. A few quick starter points to set the stage before I hand it off to my colleague. 2023 was a year of substantial transition, including new leadership. I joined KU at the top of July 2023, which was halfway through the year. I would like to just one more time acknowledge the steadfast, dedicated leadership of our interim co-dean, Scott Hanrath and Beth Whitaker. Thank you once again for everything that you did to steer KU Libraries through mid-2022 to mid-2023. That's right, like high five, absolutely. The second half of 2023 was also quite a busy one because starting September 7th, we launched into a strategic planning process that was very much all hands on deck. I love the fact that everybody from KU Libraries participated and contributed, and we put together an amazing, ambitious, achievable strategic plan. We're going to give you a sneak peek at it in a few minutes in this presentation. That strategic plan had its soft launch at the end of January 2024 at a strategic alignment presentation to all of campus leadership, and it was very well received. Christy and her team, Office of Communications and Advancement, is working on a polished version of the strategic plan for public distribution that will be available via the web and in print. Do know that for now, if you'd like to take an early look at that strategic plan, you can visit lib.ku.edu/strategic-plan. Yep, so it's out there, it's official, it's published, and thank you to everyone in this room and the entire community for their contributions to the plan. So again, quite a year of transition, and that is what we mean by looking back at our accomplishments and also looking ahead to our strategic plan. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to ask Beth Whitaker, our Associate Dean of Distinctive Collections, to come up and tell us all about it.
Okay, can everybody hear me? There's a certain pressure going first, but I am up to the challenge. Thank you, Carol. As Carol said, when we break down the many and varied accomplishments of the whole libraries team by administrative portfolio, inevitably it makes it sound like these are things that my colleagues and I did in a vacuum. I cannot stress enough that nothing happens in the libraries without a group effort. So that said, I'll talk about three teams in particular that I'm responsible for. Spencer Research Library, Conservation Services, and International Collections. So these are just a couple of snapshots that highlight some of the amazing work of my colleagues. And I want to emphasize with this slide that numbers are great for telling stories. I think it's always important, for example, to talk about the linguistic diversity of KU Libraries collections or the percentage of KU undergraduates that constitute researchers in the Stockstead Reading Room, but they don't tell the whole story, right? So we're gonna take a high level view, but I would love to answer questions at any point if people have other kinds of questions or want a little bit more detail about these kinds of metrics. One thing that we're always excited about in Distinctive Collections is welcoming visitors and welcoming researchers. So this year we saw some diplomatic visitors and we saw some research scholars in Spencer. And we're grateful that private support helps make those travel awards possible. Exhibits are also a huge part of what we do. We need to acknowledge the work that goes into both physical and digital exhibits in Spencer and in international collections. These are, a lot of these are available online, and I invite you to come and look at those further if you were not able to see them in person. Finally, I think yes, this is finally. Just a couple of other things that I think are important to mention. KU MC's library and Spencer joined the Consortium for the History of Science, Technology, and Medicine. The reason we pointed that out is because Spencer Library is part of a larger research library ecosystem with partner organizations beyond KU, and we're making great inroads, I think, in building a regional kind of collaboration there. Conservation Services Research Forum for East Asian students and faculty is just one example of the outreach work that happens in international collections. And finally, we've got some beautiful preview slides there of photographs of Watson, which I think you're going to hear more about. That's just a little nod to segueing into the work of digitization, digital collections, and born digital material. Again, cannot emphasize enough that everything that happens in this area is a team effort, from acquiring digital collections, sometimes with grant funding, to digitization of resources that originally appeared in print, such as these photographs, to the work of a team that is managing, beginning to manage and create workflows for how we handle born digital material. So things that never were in paper or on tape, which is the looming challenge in distinctive collections, I think, and digital initiatives for the future. So that said, because that work is very collaborative, I think it's a great time to hand off to my colleague, Scott Hanrath, and I've given you an extra minute. So we're doing great. We're going to have lots of time for questions and comments here. So Scott, it's all you.
Thanks, Beth. So again, my name is Scott Hanrath. I'm Associate Dean for Research Engagement in the libraries, and I'm a really fortunate person because I get to come to work every day or be on screens every day, sometimes with a lot of really talented and dedicated people in the libraries. And so it's really great to have this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the kind of things that we do and accomplish in our area. So I hope this gives you a small taste of things. And as Beth mentioned, librarians are always happy to talk more about things they do. So if something here puts a question in your head or sparks some interest, please let us know, and we'll move into some other conversations. So a little bit here about roughly how we're organized in this unit. We've got four departments in this area. A lot of the work Beth just talked about with digitization happens in our digital initiatives unit, where we do a considerable amount of work to make KU scholarship open to the world, work with editors who are moving their disciplines forward by providing journal publishing infrastructure, and working to make those unique resources that really KU is the only place you can go to find those things, make it a little bit easier for more people to engage with them, whether they're in classrooms elsewhere on our campus or around the world. Our research and learning unit is engaged all over the place on supporting teaching, research, and learning. We do that through individualized research consultations. We're working with instructors on redesigning assignments to better incorporate information literacy concepts into the classroom. Systematic reviews are highlighted here. If you're not familiar with those are an evidence-based synthesis model. Sorry, totally thrown by that. Evidence-based synthesis is a way of doing basically a literature review on steroids in a very systematic way. We've got a team of folks who have undertaken some own training and development on their part, and they are now providing consultations, training for grad students, working on curriculum redesign, and most excitingly are really heavily engaged on research teams themselves as full-fledged partners in those research projects, which is super, super exciting. I'm going to go on and talk a little bit about two other places in our units. One is collection strategy and development. These are the groups who are trying to make sure that researchers and learners on campus at our university have the things they need in order to complete their coursework and to advance their research. Oh, we're almost there.
We are.
We're getting close. Brooke's awesome. There's a note in here that kind of highlights how much of our journal, or how much of our collection spending is really bound up in electronic journal packages. And even further than that, how much of that is bound up in Elsevier, which is just one example of the way that publishers are consolidating across the scholarly publishing landscape, which poses some challenges for us. Luckily, we've had some really great support from university governance here at the University of Kansas that helped us negotiate what we thought was a pretty good deal for Elsevier last year. It's one of a number of agreements that we've put in place that allows us to reduce the burdens to open access publishing on campus. That works heavily collaborative across our scholarly communication and copyright unit, who is also very much engaged with making courses more affordable through students by supporting open educational resources. So working with instructors to adopt those things, working with instructors to create those things, providing some grant that does that. They've done some awesome tabling here in the last couple of days, collecting some input and feedback from students on how this has impacted their work. And we look forward to seeing that here again soon. So a couple accomplishments I'll highlight in the areas of research. A lot of these, it's important to point out, are partnerships. These are things that are not just internal libraries collaborations, but these are ways we're engaged with other people on campus to better serve the needs of our constituents. So Sprints Week, you may have heard of. It's an intensive research project. Faculty can propose something they would like to move forward. You get a dedicated team of 2 or 3 librarians and a project manager and space for a week to work on that. It's pretty awesome. Fridays on 4th is a great new initiative that's a partnership with the Writing Center, Graduate Studies, and CTE. There's a whole vibe directly above me on Fridays in the Watson 4 Graduate Lounge. There are snacks, there are paper cranes, there's coffee. It smells good. I invite you to check it out. That builds on some past practices like thesis and dissertation accelerators, and it really is a way to bring campus units together to really spur and catalyze grad student research. IDR8's the Institute for Digital Research in the Humanities, partnership with the college and the Hall Center of the Humanities. Been fantastic to see the progress on their fellows program. They're in, I think, the 4th year of a fellows program, and we have an event coming up in this space here in May to kind of hear about their projects this year, which will be great. Carpentries is a way to work with learners on basic computational skills, so learning how to do data analysis, manage your source code. Done some focused areas in things like genomics and other subject areas, also active in certifying instructors across campus. It's a great pedagogical learning opportunity for our campus. We do a lot of internal learning, and so the Digital Support Hub is up here just as a pointer to peer-to-peer models of learning that we use in the libraries, where we talk about web scraping, AI, mapping, data visualization, and things that help spur our own creativity that can feed into those collaborations. We're also involved in student engagement in tons of areas. If you haven't been to the Makerspace in downstairs in Anschutz, you should go over there. The Plant Shoots from Anschutz, which is probably the best name event we've had over the past year, though there are other contenders on this very slide, which says something. The dominant theme in that room was just delight. It was an incredible event. Students were excited. They brought into the libraries. They thought of us in different ways. We were able to spur some relationships. It was fantastic. The De-Stress Study Fest, also a good name. Again, collaboration with our partners in the Writing Center and other places, just to provide a space to know, getting middle of the semester sometimes is a stressful time. Maybe it'd be nice to have a break, have some snacks, have a chance to let loose a little bit. And Watch It in Watson was a screening of the Hunger Games, which apparently is very resonant with our incoming freshman class for some reason or another. But that's part of a series of things we do with Hawk Week to help orient students to the libraries and all that we can do for them. And real quick on this last one, we are always looking at different ways to expand the content available to the campus. We're super responsive. If you've got something you need, let us know. We will fulfill those requests. There are numbers here that attest to that. And we're also working on making sure that the other things that you need available to you are there, including things like streaming media, which is a growing part of our portfolio. Last but not least, we are advocating for open scholarship on a number of fronts. That's involved us being engaged with national professional organizations, working with journals to move from a subscription to an open status, and again, working with six and more publishers now to reduce the cost of KU researchers to publish openly. So I am really happy now to turn this over to Kent Miller and Jeremy Horkman, who can tell you some about what goes on in their area.
Okay, hello, everybody. I think I'm going to start things out here, and Brooke, you can warn me to about 2 minutes, so I give Kent ample time because we got a lot to cover here. We've got a very large division here. This is the group of people, as you can see up there, it indicates cataloging, acquisitions, and access services. So these are the people who are providing the frontline public services, and then the folks in access services, and then the folks downstairs, just one floor below, our friends on the second floor, are cataloging materials, and also acquisitions and resource sharing, which they do a lot of acquisitions, licensing, interlibrary loans. So we're doing busy groups that are producing a lot of different deliverables to people. And this is just a snapshot of some of the things that our group does. As you can see, acquisitions and resource sharing, very busy loaning items out to other academic units and also borrowing items from units that are requested from KU folks. So you can see that data there. A lot of new monographs, print and electronic acquired, 46 new databases over the last year and 5 journals added. Looks like that's up from the previous 2022. Cataloging and archival processing, they're a great group. Really, I mean, it's essential to discovering materials, the work that they do. And as you can see, they were busy. A lot of print books and ebooks processed, new and corrected names, and so forth. So they stayed busy, as well as the library annex. This is our off-site storage facility where we have about 2.4 million items. This facility is essential to being able to leverage our spaces for new programs and resources for the campus and to meet our strategic goals as well. So as you can see, that we had a lot done that year as well. 173,000 items sent over. Access services, these are our folks again that provide the public services. So we circulated about 62,000, 500,000 people visited our library locations in this year. And as you can see here, we have popular study rooms. We get a lot of people using them. That's 4,307 different students. And we know there were more students because it just takes one to reserve a room for 6 people. And again, we had a record year at the Library Annex for accessioning materials, as noted there. We also did some environment refreshments. We refreshed spaces in many locations, as noted there, including the now known as the Dean Rantz Administrative Suite. And we also did some nice things for our public users and our public spaces. We had new entrances to Watson and Spencer. And 2 locations also added activity tables for de-stressing and brain breaks. You can see it just down there to the right. You'll be able to see some of the materials in Watson for that. And also our operations managers have begun decorating their service desks, which is cool. Over to you, Kent.
Over to me. I should say to begin with that Mary Roach, our associate dean, was going to make this presentation. She woke up not feeling at all well this morning, and so Jeremy and I are pressed into service. So more major accomplishments. We've kind of just divided this presentation. We would note that under acquisitions and resource sharing that there were 5 new read and publish agreements. Scott alluded to the results of that in his presentation. And I would note that negotiating these kind of agreements is very much a collaborative effort between acquisitions and administration and content development and others. And with new programs become new reporting requirements. And we note on here the OA fund reporting requirements that we've put into place. Moving on to cataloging, I'm not sure Were we 2 minutes? Gotcha. We have a cheat sheet here. We have completed a 12 or 13-year run of archiving materials in the library annex as part of a collaborative or an distributed serial repository. West provides access, digital access to many things, and they kept us alive through COVID because we could not, a lot of the libraries closed and electronic access was the only way to keep our research programs going at the university. Under cataloging and archival processing, they had to do a lot of record work for West as well. We have provided records to a number of new shared catalogs, and these are primarily in the Spencer Library collaboration areas. And they note on here that we have done work with rehousing and re-access record development for a series of collections. Yeah, I better. I'm overtime. And very quickly, I would note that we have refreshed a number of our user spaces because we found some extra dollars in last year's budget and we're able to do a series of projects. Last, I would note the LibArt or LibArt, depending on your choice of words, program that a donor has stepped up to provide prize money, and we're seeing larger and larger numbers of students each year applying to display their art in the various libraries. And now I am supposed to introduce Christy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christy McWard. I am the Executive Director of Communications and Advancement here for KU Libraries. And it is my pleasure to share with you a few exciting highlights from the Office of Communications and Advancement, which is responsible for connecting the libraries and all of the amazing work that you've already heard about today from our talented, brilliant colleagues. We get to share that with our communities. So we connect communities and patrons to the libraries via print and digital communications, graphic design, social media, media relations, video storytelling, photography, alumni engagement, event management, donor relations, and advancement initiatives that encourage philanthropic support of the library. So I'm going to go through really fast some of the highlights of all of that. Advance this. Oh, I'm going the other way. Okay, so alumni engagement, I mentioned, it is a cornerstone of that advancement work that I mentioned. We reconnect alumni with the libraries by reintroducing them to what the libraries offer to Jayhawks and what has meant to Jayhawks through the years. And these themed exhibits, you'll see here, Rock Chalk Rally, Highlights by the Hundreds, those both ended and began in 2023. And what they did was they allowed us to celebrate the history of the university and to connect with Jayhawk alumni around the country in 8 US cities that have strong Jayhawk alumni networks. And we do that in partnership with our friends at KU Alumni Association. We're so grateful for that collaboration. In addition to that, back here in the heart of campus, when we're not in some Jayhawk networks, our event management team produced planned, implemented 65 different events on campus. And those are a way for us to bring the campus community and local community members into the libraries for meaningful experiences and connections. So one of the exciting things was it was a major highlight of our year to see some of our team's newest print and digital communications work recognized last summer at a libraries advancement conference where KU Libraries received 2 out of the top 10 honors, competing with 70 different colleges and universities for some communications awards. And we received awards for best social media and best marketing materials. Those awards specifically honored some of the work that we are doing in our initiative to revamp and refresh our existing communications materials, mostly in print, but also in the digital realm too. And some of these are back in the back of the room, so I hope you'll take a look or even take copies with you at the end. But 2 I'll highlight are our Start With Us brochure, our Partner With Us brochure. One is focused on the student population, one is focused on our faculty and instructional audiences. And of course, in addition to always providing an overview of resources and services by the libraries, these also do a bit of repositioning of the libraries as important academic partners. You heard Carol talk a little bit about that, but positioning the libraries as important academic partners across campus in advancing student success and research and discovery. Another place you can find all of our work in the communications and advancement team is in our press room on the library's site. So really quick, social media strategy. In the digital realm, we conceived and devised a new strategy to increase our reach and engagement. I probably don't have time to tell you all of the statistics on that today. They are impressive, both not both, but on 3 of our 4 big 4 platforms, we really achieved double and triple digit growth in our advancement and engagement. So one of those social media initiatives was our BiblioBios program, which started by highlighting a lot of our new faculty and staff on campus. So look at those. Those are personality profiles. Those are really interesting to read, and they are continuing. That is an ongoing, very successful program. So look for that. Another important data point for outreach is KU Today. And I want to thank our friends in public affairs who make KU Today happen and help us get our stories out to wider audiences. KU Libraries had 54 news releases, stories, and highlights featured in KU Today throughout 2023. So that just gives you another idea of all those great things you heard about. Those are all appearing across campus as well. We celebrated in the advancement realm, we celebrated a wonderful major gift from Cliff and Sue Haka, who dedicated the Rance Administrative Suite. You heard Jeremy mention that. And that is in advance of our Watson Centennial year. It really tees us up to start getting excited about the nice things that can come with the celebration and fixing up this beautiful building that we sit in. So that leads me to the final point, and that is that much of 2023, my team spent by thinking of this year. 2024. It is the year that we celebrate the 100th birthday of this beautiful building that we find ourselves in today. And in preparation for celebrating Watson Library's 100th birthday in September, we have prepared to spotlight that history and created lovely images that you see here. There, that you'll see a lot of that if you haven't already. We're going to be doing a lot of storytelling and engagement opportunities and a big special event in September where we can highlight for people what the libraries have meant to a century of Jayhawks and what we have meant to students and scholarship at the university. So look for that. Time for me to close and introduce my colleague, Mike Broadwell, who is our Executive Director of Administrative Services and Equity Advisor.
Thank you. Thanks, Christy. Again, my name is Mike Broadwell. I'm going to talk a little bit about administrative services and then go into our DEIB initiatives and efforts. Just an overview of admin services. We lead and support and oversee human resources, the faculty promotion and tenure processes, organization development, and the campus mail, and also the awards processes. And we are, of course, tightly aligned with the fiscal services unit, as most people want to be here, the money person. So some of our major accomplishments, the highlights I'm going to talk about today is mainly the fun stuff we get to do. The first item, we hired 21 faculty and staff members last year. Keeping in mind that we are facilitating that process. In Beth's comment earlier, this is all a collaborative process. So we had 21 search teams, 21 chairs, and multiple team members that committed their time and effort in that process. And then the rest of the faculty and staff that attended presentations, for instance, all committed time to hiring some very talented people in our organization. And so just wanted to acknowledge them. We processed or offboarded 11 departures. It's easy to depart from organizations. The pain that comes after it is often not easy. The filling, the covering, and all of the work that's left behind. So secondly, the enhanced onboarding, orientation, and our mentoring programs last year. We enhanced that every year. Those are important programs, particularly the coaching program, but we want to immediately start employee development right away when they're hired. Our coaching program, for instance, is led by International Coaching Federation Certified Coach, which is the gold star of coaching certification. We've had that effort going on for approximately, I think, 6 or 7 years. And it's an extremely effective method for employee development. It's not too often that an organization has an internal coach that can help your own development in many, many different areas. Last year, there were 9 coaching assignments equivalent for 24 sessions, but also all new hires have the opportunity to do strengths coaching using the Gallup Strengths Finder program. And we had 21 coaching sessions last year. We're also piloting a talent development initiative in collaboration with staff governance. The program invites participants on a personalized development journey. It includes a collaborative planning to design a unique development path. It incorporates support from various stakeholders like supervisors, associate deans, subject matter experts, and mentors. Participants will receive a tailored information setting the stage for their transformation and growth. So we started work on that program last year, and we were piloting, just recently in the last few weeks. So look for more information about that to come. We also continued our enhancements with automated workflow. We do, there's a lot of back-end processing and HR, org development, FMLA kinds of processes. We try to automate as much as we can. We have about 30 automated workflows that's supported by a functional development specialist. And some of the major ones are handling our promotion and tenure processes, travel requests and approval, onboarding and orientation, and of course our student searches. So we will continue to enhance our workflows probably annually. Lastly, the other major accomplishments is completing and facilitating and helping with the promotion and tenure processes. Last year we had 2 promotions, faculty promotions, 2 sabbaticals, 1 progress towards tenure review, and 2 PTRs, which is a post-tenure review. Again, the commitment by the committees that handled that process, that did most of the work, the Committee on Promotion and Tenure, the Sabbatical and Post-Tenure Review Committee are committed in putting a lot of extra time in that service work. So special thanks to them. But I also can't forget the mentors and supervisors that are involved in that process too. So moving on to honors and awards. Again, it's a collaborative effort with Christie's group, the Office of Communication and Advancement. the winners are noted from last year for these awards. I'll briefly talk about the awards themselves. And the Dean's Award for Student Employee Excellence is a DAISY Award. Students maintain a lot of, they're essential to our work. They open and close libraries. They get involved in collections and cataloging and all aspects of our services. And the Snyder Book Collecting Contest is a personal book collection contest for undergraduate and graduates. We have Staff Excellence Awards, the Sanders Scholar Award. We do recognize those who completed the promotion and tenure process during our celebration of excellence, along with these other awards here. We also, I want to mention, we also support, let's see, the ARL Leadership Fellow, one of our recent fellows is Scott Hanrath, of course, who spoke earlier today. We also support the, this is one of the awards that is managed out of the Office of Scholarly Communication, which is the Schulenberger Award for Innovation. So moving on. I am, I'll hurry. Lastly, the DEIB priorities. Christy mentioned that I am an equity advisor on campus, one of the many equity advisors on campus. So I work closely with the dean, the leadership team, and our existing DEIB steering committee. In talking about some of our notable actions from last year, we brought in the Racial Equity Institute Phase 1 training, which is a deep dive into the racial equity and the history of racial inequity. The adoption of the Juneteenth Day of Reflection is something the libraries has done in the past. I brought that up because our history here in the libraries is in line with the adoption of welcoming environment, and some of our past actions, such as a gender neutral restrooms, a lactation room, a reflection room, and a You Belong Here campaign is really in line with our welcoming environment. And let's see. So looking forward, we're relying on Jayhawks Rising and Rise for our direction, along with the library's strategic plan. We recently outlined 3 goals in line with the university's strategic alignment initiative. First one is to reinvigorate and revive a DEIB steering committee and create a new DEIB advisory committee. We do have that committee now. We've met a couple of times, but we did meet the requirement for a diverse representation of identities, perspectives, and library units. So that's an exciting, energetic group that I'm waiting to see where it goes. We are infusing DEIB Rise priorities throughout the library's strategic plan. And then lastly, we are working to include overlapping and intersectional areas in our DEIB efforts to include accessibility, mental health, employee engagement, and well-being. So I just want to lastly mention one of the notable actions that I didn't cover was the collective work and goals and professional performance. Dean Smith was recently meeting with all of the faculty in one-on-one meetings to discuss their last year's work, basically in their evaluation. But she happened to pull out all of the DEIB work that's been doing, and that collective effort is pretty impressive so far. I don't think she's quite done with the meetings, but so far that work has touched diversifying collections, mentoring, outreach, the KU Common Book, scholarship, cataloging. So that, including the staff's efforts to their goals, is really illustrating the vast scope of DEIB work that's happening in the library. So I just wanted to make that point. But I am completely out of time, so I'm going to pass it back on to Carol.
I am back. Hi, all. I know we're running over time. I'm assuming the live stream can continue and our Q&A can run a little over time because we've got lots of good information still to share with you. It's time to start looking ahead. So let's let's dive in and let's begin by talking about some very big, very high level visions for the future of KU Libraries physical spaces. It is fair to state that half of all libraries now are digital, right? Half the library is available at your fingertips, but it does not therefore follow that library space and place, physical libraries have diminished in importance. Quite the reverse. It has become more essential for communities to be able to come together in the digital age across all disciplines. So the focus of physical libraries has really been transforming from one of a collections-oriented space to an emphasis on dynamic spaces where people can directly connect with information and with each other to generate shared understandings and ideas. And that is something that is needed more now than ever. So as we have mentioned several times today, Watson Library turns 100 this year, right? She is an inspiring Gothic beauty, as I love to say, from the outside. From the inside, I think it's fair to say that she is looking a little bit tired, right? She was last renovated, major renovation in 1980. And believe it or not, for those who are in my age group, that was 45 years ago almost. So it's been a while and a few things have happened since 1980, right? So to be fair, this library, as beautiful as she is, no longer fully reflects and optimizes the potential of what academic libraries can be for their communities in terms of dynamic interaction, research advancement, technology infused spaces and places that people can take advantage of. A world-class institution like KU deserves a world-class research library. And that is what we are going to bring to KU. And we've got a vision for it, right? So what is the vision for Watson? Well, Watson already leans into research and discovery, which is one of the 3 KU Jayhawks Rising major goals. Many of the accomplishments and the initiatives that Scott described take place right here at Watson. The vision for Watson is to really lean into that research and discovery vibe, that personality, even more, bringing all kinds of new things, as you can see on this slide. Now, I fully recognize that what we are talking about is ambitious and expensive. Right? Make no mistake, it will take time, it will take money. Most of all, it is going to take institutional commitment. It is also a major reason why I came here. And we have that institutional commitment. The 2024 Campus Master Plan lists Watson Library as a renovation priority. So it's going to take years of work, but we are absolutely going to make it happen. Just as Watson Library already has a research and discovery, scholarly, graduate focus and vibe, Anschutz Library, oh, did I go ahead too much? There we go. Anschutz Library is already a busy crossroads for undergraduate engagement. We are proposing a phased renovation of Anschutz, guided by an overarching program plan so that we can continue to lean into that undergraduate academic success, student success opportunity that Anschutz presents for the entire campus. And we have all kinds of ideas for Anschutz. Many of them have been generated by the community, ideas like a faculty lounge and a coffee shop and a cafe, so that Anschutz not just becomes a center for undergraduate success, but also a wonderful crossroads where our students can encounter faculty, can bump into faculty, and all kinds of wonderful sparks can generate from that. So a phased renovation is going to allow us to move Anschutz forward steadily over time as funding permits, both from the library and the campus and the community. So full renovation for Watson, phased renovation for Anschutz. And Anschutz Library renovation is also in the 2024 Campus Master Plan. But, and there is a but, the big vision for Watson and the big vision for Anschutz cannot happen if we do not first expand the annex. And Jeremy spoke about the annex as our high density offsite remote storage facility for our lower circulating collections. It is filling up. It will be full very quickly. It can be doubled in space. And if we're going to open up more dynamic interaction spaces for our students at Watson and at Anschutz, we first need to build more capacity at the annex. So these are the big projects that we will be working with administration to move forward in the years to come, and I am super excited about them. So we're going to transition into talking about the strategic plan, which we developed over the fall semester. I'm going to hand it over very soon to my colleague Courtney Fote. But first, I do just want to share with you our new mission and our new vision. We advance research, teaching, and learning at the intersection of people and ideas, and we seek to empower all learners through transformative partnerships, opening doors, fueling knowledge creation, and cultivating our communities. You'll notice that I bolded quite a few words there. The central theme there is people, right? Community, learners, partnerships. People-centered library. That is what we are all about. And I just want to kind of give a quick nod to where libraries have been, where we are now, and where we are going, because that really sets the stage for our strategic plan. Libraries have historically been centers for collecting human knowledge. That is a fundamental requirement of a civilization to persist and to advance. And collections are and will always be at the heart of what libraries are, what KU Libraries is, but it does not therefore follow that libraries themselves are collection centric. We are people centric. So we have already become knowledge providers. I mean, all the things that you heard about today, open access, library instruction, digital repositories, that is our role today as knowledge service providers. But what's most important is where we are going. That word partnership is really meaningful, and you'll be hearing it more throughout the day for those who are staying with us. We are on the way to becoming fully integrated academic, research, and community partners across the entire campus and community enterprise. And as Courtney takes us through a high-level view of the strategic plan, I will hope that you can see the people-centered aspects and the partnership-centered aspects. Courtney.
Hey, thank you, Carol. All right, so today has really been largely a reflection on amazing good work that happened over 2023. We're just giving a sneak peek ahead into the future, but I think it is important to say that we spent, as Carol alluded, the latter half of 2023, along with everything else that my colleagues have shared about today, also building a new vision, a new mission, and setting strategic directions for the libraries. And that is no small feat. There was a lot of time, hundreds and hundreds of hours, and all of our colleagues who were part of that process. And so the visual that you see up here is just a sense of kind of the pace and the parallel tracks that we took over the fall semester. Part of my role, I'm advisor for strategic initiatives and organizational engagement. And so working with my colleagues throughout the libraries and with Carol at the helm, we dove into this effort, maybe 8 weeks or so after Carol got onto campus, still diving in and acclimating to what KU is as we simultaneously set forth with conversations about where we want to go and where we want to take KU Libraries. So starting again with the new mission and the new vision that Carol just articulated for you, some of the words that you heard there, I just want to say we were talking about those often and regularly. Words like transform, like critical partners, like bold. These were really kind of where we wanted to go. We had to move quickly in shaping this plan, but we knew that that also was a reflection of kind of our outer world and the landscape and the evolving nature of higher ed. And so that was an important piece for us to be very cognizant of as we shaped our own directions. We also quickly moved into then setting our own strategic kind of framework. The compass really for this process is the university strategic plan. So Jayhawks Rising, Rise, Research Rising, the direction that KU is going is really kind of where we pointed ourselves and kind of set course for this process. And again, the fuel for all of this work was the people. So we had, 125 or so library faculty and staff members who engaged throughout the fall semester through a series of brainstorming discussions. We invited input and ideas through web forums and through unit level discussions in all kinds of iterations to share their ideas. We talked about how is higher ed changing? What is a 21st century research library like? What kinds of drivers and disruptors are on the horizon for us? We're in a very, very different place than we were in 2019 when we shaped our last plan. And I think that was a very resonant part of our dialogue here moving forward. And so lots and lots of energy that went into those discussions. And I will say too, the libraries, we are really the hub and the heart of this university, and our stakeholders have been key to setting our course too. So late in the fall semester, we started seeking out more conversations with our students, with the faculty on campus, with our advocates, with community members, all of the supporters who care about and are invested in the libraries, and really seeking their impressions about where our plan is going, what ideas they have, and what course they want to help set for us along the way. So today we're going to take a very high level sneak peek. We have 3 core goals in our plan, which map very directly to the Jayhawks Rising goals. I think it's safe to say that the libraries are instrumental, as Carol talked about, kind of the critical nature of our work to the academic enterprise. We propel student success. We help set the course for research and discovery, and we shape healthy and vibrant communities. And we have found as we've shaped our plan, of course, it's not always easy to separate things into 3 distinct buckets. There's a lot of overlap across that important work. But here today, I'm just going to share, I won't read it to you on screen. We have those 3 high-level goals set, give you a sense of the strategies within each of those. So for instance, here in student success, some of the work that we aspire to do over the coming 5 years involves looking at our spaces and the way that we continue to evolve those, looking at our instruction support and how that's scaffolded across the life cycle of a student, the experiences students have around research and around learning while they're here at KU, and the financial accessibility of a KU education. Research and discovery, that includes 15 of the 35 objectives in our plan. So no small part of where we're headed over the next 5 years. Again, too, this is really as much about the people as it is the output, right? We're not just talking how do we support research? How do we impact researchers in their processes? How does that research get shared and celebrated even worldwide to increase access to it, to fuel other discovery, and to impact lives in our broader community? So again, here looking at things like the discoverability of all of the amazing resources that we have, the actual architecture, the infrastructure to how we provide that. Again, supporting researchers and continuing to evolve our own expertise so that we can continue to do that better and better each year. Globalization and the internationalization interests of the university and the ways that we propel that, as well as a continued look at our own practices, impact assessment, continuing to refine and improve the ways that we work and provide all of our expertise. And then finally, healthy and vibrant communities. And again, too, this is where so much of our work around creating a space of belonging, considering the well-being of our students, of all of our communities that intersect in the libraries, looking at our work in community engagement, sustainability, how we support our own faculty and staff in their ongoing development, some of the work Mike talked about today, and then excitingly, what Carol just spoke with you about, the work in our kind of broader investments in our infrastructure here on campus are not only pivotal for healthy and vibrant communities, but for every goal in our plan today. So that's very high level. Within each of those strategies that you saw on the slides, we have a number of specific operational level objectives that will help to move us forward. We are already taking steps forward right now. I will say there are some kind of hot opportunities that we are seizing and making progress toward, but we're also engaged as an organization in looking at those 35 objectives in our 5-year plan and identifying which of those will be our top list for focus in 2024. So we are right on the cusp of sharing with you all the final and full complete version of this 5-year plan. Please stay tuned. You'll see the URL up on screen there. If you would like to take a peek over the coming weeks, we'll be communicating that full plan, where we're headed. And the last thing I'll note is just this is living and breathing like everything we do here. And so as all of you have questions and ideas, this plan is not a rigid document. We know that the world will keep changing even a couple years from now. So please continue to share your ideas, help us continue to tweak the course on where KU libraries are going and have the greatest impact over the years to come. Okay. We made it. Let's, where's that box? Underneath? Let's break out the box and start talking. So, I do want to acknowledge that was a lot of slides and a lot of bullet points and a lot of metrics, and we had to move through it really, really fast. I'm sure that if you want us to go back and pull up an earlier slide, we can certainly do so. Please also know that following this presentation, the entire slide deck will be made available so folks can also review all of that good information at a later stage. Box, catch box. Questions, comments, anything you'd like to remark on? Jam-packed, we know, we are well aware, and I think it really is important again to state that that represents the collective work of the entire KU libraries in conjunction with our partners across campus and the broader community, and it's only the highlights. We could have been presenting a lot more to you, so consider this to be an overview.
So I'm just wondering about the physical collection in terms of how this is going to, like, I'm talking about the books and the stacks and increasing the size of the annex. And so in your vision, is there some work that's going to be done to kind of move some of that physical collection out that's not necessarily circulating and use some of that space? Or, okay, I kind of thought so, because I know that is a big lot of real estate that could probably, in this vision of making this a place that's more central to the campus and utilized for researchers and what have you, there's a lot going on back there. So that's one part. And then the second part is, how is the administration of the university embracing these plans? I know in my tenure on this board, there's always been, the library's kind of been on its own, kind of in seeking out donors and, the way that it goes about to get funding. And so I just curious how this partnership's expanding. And so, yeah, I don't know, maybe somebody could answer that for me.
Yeah, two really great questions. I'll throw out some responses, and I do welcome any of my colleagues in the audience to also raise their hand for the box and join in. So first, with respect to moving collections out, yes, we have already been doing that. That is what has been filling up the annex. I think it's important to recognize that work of moving lower circulating collections out from the libraries in order to open up more user-centered space requires a lot of people over a sustained amount of time. That work has been going on for many, many years since the annex was first constructed in 2006. So that work has been going on for 17, 18 years already. And that's why the annex right now, and we have a wonderful manager over there, Michelle, and she does a great job with the statistics, and we can look at the work that they are doing. And we know that at the rate that they are going, the annex is slated to fill in 3 to 5 years. But if it's going to fill in 3 to 5 years, that actually means for us to be ready to keep that work going, we're going to need to break ground on new annex bays in 1 year in order to be ready for things. And we do want to continue to open that up because physical information is always going to be important, and that use is always going to be there. The preservation is always going to be there, but libraries are sparking off in all these incredible new directions, and we need to make the space for that. And the materials are still available, right? With courier service twice a day. So yep, that absolutely needs to move forward. And then your second question with regard to administrative support. So first, I would say, again, all of us went and attended the campus master plan reveal with bated breath, and we were so excited to see that Watson and Anschutz both made the really important slide for renovation. That to me says that there is institutional commitment. It isn't a reality that there are many priorities on a campus, and those priorities need to be played out and rise to the top. So we are doing everything we can to be loud and get out in front. And I do know that this is a priority for the provost. And I think it's important to say large things are they're never accomplished quickly or easily, right? But it makes the achievement all the more satisfying. I just came here in July. I think it's really important to note that the libraries have been steadfast, and the Board of Advocates have been steadfastly advocating for this much needed work for at least 5 years, more than 5 years. I am just here to continue to carry the ball forward. That is the amount of time it takes. I will say architecture is going to be moving forward with a new building. They have been working on that for 10 years, and it is going to become a reality with groundbreaking in the coming years. And so it may seem like it's taken a long time, but that's how long it takes for big things to be achieved. But boy, big things are so satisfying when they happen. Yeah. And with respect to donor relations, our development officer, Amy Gray, is here representing KU Endowment Association. And we are so glad for her support and her work to raise awareness for these important projects that are not going to happen without community donor support. Yeah. Please, if anyone else wants to jump in with an answer, raise your hand.
Oh, hi. First of all, that was outstanding and it almost made me tired listening to everything that you all are doing. It's incredible. But it did make me think about just our full-time library staff. And I was just going to ask you for, obviously it takes a village to do all of these things, and was just going to ask you about like the retention and engagement of our professional library staff and how you're feeling about that or how they're feeling to make all this happen.
Well, they're probably the best ones to answer that question, and many of them are in the audience. I think, you know, one thing that's really important to share, and I shared this at that major January strategic alignment campus presentation to all of leadership. 2/3 of the KU Libraries team is staff. 2/3 is staff. KU Libraries would not run without its staff, and staff today are doing things that librarians used to do 10 years ago, so that librarians can move out into new areas like digital repositories, born digital objects, many of the things that you heard about today. So we absolutely value and rely on them. You heard about some of the new initiatives that are being spearheaded coming out of Mike and his team. I'm looking at Sharon and others. Really excited about talent development programs, and I'm looking at someone who's serving as a test co-pilot on that program right now, and then we'll be expanding that out. And what this means is that staff can define their pathways for growth and what those pathways are, right? And they might be right in line with libraries. They might actually move in different directions, but we're going to help them grow as individuals. And that can only help KU Libraries and for making a stronger team. The second thing that we will be doing is taking a real hard look at our professional development funding. The world is changing fast. We have to change with it. This is something that all of the library team identified during our strategic planning brainstorming sessions, that the first thing we need before even developing is we need time. We need time to reflect, to explore our discipline and how it is changing, and to develop our own skills to keep up with those new trends. Every single one of those 128 folks that make up the KU Libraries team needs to be doing that, which means we need to be funding that so that they can attend more workshops and conferences and opportunities to develop those skills. And so our fiscal year 25 budget is going to have more funding dedicated in that area. And I have really enjoyed working with LSA toward this end. The Library Staff Association, they are developing new web page opportunities to help share out with the staff what opportunities are available for professional development, and that is a big part of it as well. So LSA and the library leadership team and all of us, we've been working in conjunction with each other. Yep, absolutely. Is all these things that we talk about where we're going, it's not going to happen without us also developing ourselves. As the provost likes to say continually, hey, so I'm going to take a step back. If you ask me to describe what libraries are in 2 words, I think most of you by now know what my answer is. Libraries are community platforms. And the provost, if you ask her what business KU is in, she's going to answer with 2 words. KU is in the people business. KU is in the talent development business. That's really powerful. And A library advances the mission of the institution. So where the institution goes, the library needs to go. So KU is about talent development. KU Libraries needs to lead in that regard. Great questions. Great questions. Okay, 10 minutes over time. I really thank all of you for coming and listening. If you reflect on any of this and you have a question, again, Successful Libraries are about dialogue. Reach out to any of us. We're happy to answer any questions or take any of your ideas for how KU Libraries can go forward. And we'll see you in a year's time, if not sooner, right? Well, hopefully we see you sooner. Thank you so much.